project, which consists of building a computer from scratch or from parts. So I'm going to go over the different parts we have here available. This is the case where all the components will be stored inside. This part here is the CPU, and this is the heat sink for the CPU. The CPU is a central processing unit. This where it does all the processing for the computer. This is pretty much the brain of the computer. This heat sink allows it to keep it cool because it runs very hot. This particular model has a parallel port, and this is a port used to establish communication with a printer. These are usually reserved for older printers. Newer printers today use USB ports. This is a PCI card, which is also a network interface card. You can tell by the type of connection it has that this connects to a PCI port, and here you can see that port is an RJ45 jack with different link lights to show the different type of activity. The network traffic, this establishes network communication, enables you to connect to the internet or a local LAN. This part here is the motherboard, and you can see this is where everything connects to, and you have many different parts here. This area here are for the memory slots for the RAM chips. This right here is the socket for the processor. We have many different things here. This happens to have a lot of components built into it. As you can see here, this also has a built-in network interface card. We have multiple USB ports. We even have an HDMI port for transferring video if you wanted to display it on a larger screen. We have here your VGA port, which is used to connect a monitor. This is here a serial port, which is used for serial communications to other devices like a modem or other type of communications. Here we have PS2 ports for the purple one would be reserved for a keyboard and the green one for a mouse. And then here we have a built-in sound card, and these are the ports. A sound card enables you to output sound from a computer. The green one would be for the output. You would connect speakers there, and the blue one would be a microphone. And we have a lot more components here, but as we connect the computer, I'll explain more of the smaller ones in here. Other parts we have here is a DVD burner. This allows you to not only read CDs and DVDs, but you can also burn them. This is a light scribe one, so you can actually write to the disk itself, so if you can actually create images or write text to the actual top of the CD. Here is the hard drive. This is where all the data is stored. This is a Seagate 160 gigabyte hard drive. It can hold 160 gigs of information. This consists of magnetic disk inside that stores all the data permanently or until you erase it. What we have here are the RAM chips. This is the RAM for random access memory. This is where the short-term memory is stored on the computer. These are consist of these are 2 gig chips, so for a total of 4 gigs. It's a good amount of RAM for the computer. We also have here some SATA cables. This is for the to connect the CD and the hard drive to the motherboard. Here we have the power supply. This is actually what connects and supplies all the power for the computer. It plugs in here. It has a fan to keep it cool, and along with these cables connect directly to the motherboard, which provide all the power to the computer. And finally, we have some fans here. This again, since there's a lot of processing power here, they run hot. These 2 fans provide cooling not only for the motherboard and the rest of the unit, but this one in particular for the CPU. And go ahead and get started and putting this together. Okay, well, let's put this flat so we can begin installing. First thing we're going to install is the motherboard. This this case, since the case and the motherboard have been are designed to go together, you'll see this will be very convenient. Everything will pretty much snap into place and work well together. You can see the ports here for the different devices that's already built in, so we need to put the motherboard in this way. And you'll see different holes on the inside where you know the motherboard mounts to. Okay, you can notice here that these raised holes help support the motherboard so it doesn't touch the bottom of the case. So we're going to go ahead and slide that in, make sure they all line up. And you can see the holes line up, so that looks good. And we're going to go ahead and tighten these down. Now you should tighten this in a zigzag pattern. Reason for that, you don't want to apply too much pressure to the board on one side or another, because you may crack it. So just apply just enough pressure to tighten it down so it doesn't move anywhere. You don't need to overly torque it. So we're going to go ahead and continue to tighten these. We've got a few screws just to make sure to keep it secure. So we'll go ahead and tighten those down while you watch. So just about here wrapping up. You might want to notice that everything on the motherboard, there's a lot of different colors. This helps quite a bit when installing some of these cables, because you'll see all the cables have matching colored connectors. So that makes putting everything together a lot simpler. One thing I want to point out on the motherboard here, you notice here looks like a little battery. See that right there? That's actually the CMOS battery. And what that does is it maintains, like time and date information on the motherboard while the computer is either turned off or unplugged. So that's a handy little feature there. And I got one screw left over. This will be the last one. And we'll go ahead and get that in. All right. Next thing we're going to do is install some of these components. I'm going to go ahead and install the parallel port. Like I mentioned before, this is used for printers. You can see by the little printer diagram there. But this is used for older printers. This actually, if you see the connectors. One thing you'll notice with a lot of these computers is the connectors match pretty much only one spot, so it's hard to, very difficult to put something in the wrong place or where it doesn't belong, because it simply won't fit. So you go ahead and put that in there and slide this into the slot, and so it grabs on both ends, and then it's secure. Next thing we're going to do, this is install a secondary NIC or a network interface card. This is, like I said, was a PCI slot. The motherboard already has one built in, but this is used for as a secondary NIC, and this could be used for one of two reasons. This could be either for fault talking about the NIC. If one NIC breaks, you can have that as a backup, or you can also use it to bandwidth throttling, meaning you can actually use